place where they've been tremendous, certainly with Hooper and Pocock there has been at the breakdown. Do we see them attacking that place again against this All Blacks team?
Yeah, I think look, it's Hooper's game. I think he'll play a big part in that, but I suppose it's what they do from those turnovers is going to be the biggest test or biggest change, and turning those turnovers into points hasn't always been the case. They've been great over the ball, they've been great at getting the ball back, but then utilising that ball, I suppose, at a tempo that gets them reward rather than just, I suppose, going to the corner and having a crack there. Or I just think I'll be interested to see a mindset shift, like you see now, guys turn over, who was it? And I don't want to take it back to domestic rugby, but I think it was Jamie Booth, and there was a penalty in the corner and quick tap, bang. And then he got another penalty because Nana Saturu was offside. So it's what they do. They will get turnovers because Hooper's one of the best at it, but I think the All Blacks have had the wood on them, and the results show it, is what they've done with their turnover ball in the past, and they've just been so effective. Something Wayne Smith really, really drove and has, I suppose, continued on, Broom.
Yeah, it was. It's that click attack. Obviously, in New Zealand teams, we talk around click attack. If you're once you get a turnover, it's the first two passes or the first couple of things you're doing off that turnover attack. And if you think about New Zealand teams, not just at domestic or Super Rugby, but at international level, that broken play and scoring points off that click attack is pretty paramount in the way we score our points. But coming back to your question as well, I think Ross as well, the times the New Zealand teams have struggled or the All Blacks have struggled. The times that they've struggled is when you slow down their ball. I think, with Aaron Smith and the way he's been playing, if you look at Super Rugby and when that tempo's going fast and he's got guys around him, he's playing instinctively and the ball's getting out quick, then we're great. We have a great attacking brand of rugby. But if you look at the World Cup and even the times that we have struggled, it's when you slow down our ball, which Hooper and them are great at. But then the big men as well are dominating the collision and the carries. So if they can have that kind of emphasis and being able to do that, it takes guys away like Nuggie, his quick ball, our backs getting balls, our forwards being able to play tip balls and being able to play as well. So I think there'll be a big emphasis on that moving forward, and that's probably the only times when the New Zealand teams have struggled due to that.
That's what that semi-final was. That England pack were brutal.
Yep.
They won the physical encounter, and it was the big men had been dominant in the tackle, not necessarily getting, Curry and that were good and getting over the ball and getting turnovers, but it was the big men that was driving them back, slowing their momentum. So when you get that dominant tackle and you drive them back, your defensive line now doesn't have to fold around the corner and go back another metre. You've got time to set. You've got 14 men on the feet, and so you've got the ability to make decisions. It's when, say, a Patrick Tuipulotu is a dominant carry and he gets 2-3 metres over the gain line, then you've got to retreat, you've got to get round, and then there's we've got Nuggie or TJ, whoever it is, Brad Weber, ball up mindset, people running holes. It's tough to defend. So you smack on, bro, and that physicality and that dominance in that collision area is a massive part to their success. And I suppose who is going to be, they relied heavily on Karevi, Samu Karevi, and if you look at all the stats from 2019, he's the one Wallaby in there, and the other one is Korobiti. He was, I think, second or third out of all international teams and defenders beaten, clean line breaks and carries. So they've still got obviously him as an option, but he's quite wide out. So it's just going to be interesting that makeup of the midfield and how it's. And there's been a lot of change in the team from the World Cup and obviously a change of coach. So it's hard to know exactly how they're going to play, but those are the key areas to get a job done against the All Blacks, which is what we know.
Yeah. And I think if you come back to that World Cup as well, Jib, like as we know, mate, the tight five as well, them being able to do a job. Well, if you look at Atoje in that semi-final, mate, he was unbelievable when it came to physicality, winning breakdown, slowing ball down, being smart, great ball carrier. So, obviously, Atoje's world class and obviously isn't going to be playing. But if there's the forwards that they can do that for Australia, and again we talked about it before around slowing down their ball and making it a tough night or tough afternoon for the All Blacks. It'd be pretty interesting to see how that goes.
So, do they have a forward who can hit the gain line the way that they've used their backs to hit the gain line in the past?
Solokai Aloto is it Solokai? Yeah, the Queensland Red Six.
Yeah, Lucan.
Is Tui? No, I can't.
It used to be Lucan Tui, and he's now Salakailoto, yeah.
Oh, yeah. I think he's definitely got the body shape and the physical presence to do it. Has he done it on the international stage yet? I wouldn't say yet, but that's the sort of player you're going to be looking to go to. We've obviously spoken at depth about Harry Wilson and his mindset to carry and being a big sort of physical player. But there's just an unknown as I said, of what their team is going to look like. Especially their locks. They've had a lot of change in the locks. They've got Rob Simmons there as a consistent, but they've obviously had two boys during COVID. They didn't, obviously left the Reds and have gone overseas and things like that. So there's a bit of change in the engine room. They've always had a solid front row. I don't think that'll change. But
I'd love to see. I'd love to see Pete Samu. I'd love to see Pete. He's obviously, I played a bit of the Crusaders, but if he can have that kind of enforcer kind of mindset and being able to, because he's with the ball in hand, he's electric and is great with ball in hand. But if he can turn that around and be that enforcer, kind of like a Jerome Kino and the ones that we're kind of talking about with the Toje and that kind of mindset. I reckon he could be one that could really have that enforcer kind of role. So whether he can do that at international level,
play at 6.
He can, he can play at 6. I know he has been playing 8. He has been playing 8 for the Brumbies, but whether they see him as a genuine 6. I saw him do it at the Crusaders, and when Geordie Taufua was there, they'd go in between each other. So with that kind of role, whether he can do it at international level, and Rennie sees that,
I think he can. I do think he can do it at international level.
Yeah.
I always just saw him, I suppose, in my head as that impact player off the bench to really help drive them, because he's that energy. He's that ball of energy. When other players are tiring, I think that's when he's at his best. That's just from what I've seen. Where, let the other guys go out there and bash around, because the first 40 is always that, sort of like you guys with Tasman. It was just a fight, and then it actually took its toll in the second half on the Tasman. Then Mountain, they had to defend in that first half, and that's where I think someone like a Pete Samu, as you say, attacking skill set, his ability over the ball, and just what we're talking about, what you do from a turnover. He's the sort of guy that would quick tap and just go. And I think that could be a real vital cog off the bench late in test matches for me, for the Wallabies.